David, it was a wild Argo shootout victory in Week 3. Tonight, the rematch between a pair of 500 teams. It's the Toronto Argonauts and the Calgary Stampeders at McMahon Stadium. There's Scott Milanovich, a former Stampeder quarterback, who emphasized this week he feels his team has upgraded its offense after a controversial roster move.
Corey Boyd was released at the beginning of the week, and the man who will take over for Boyd in the backfield will be Chad Cackard. You know he will be fired up to take full advantage of this opportunity and prove to everyone that his head coach has made the right decision. And on the other sideline, John Cornish coming off his best game of the season. In fact, the best game of any tailback in the Canadian Football League a week ago against Hamilton with 170 yards.
Well, John Hufnagel liked what he saw, especially in the fourth quarter of that game at Iberwin, to get the record back to 500. Now, trying to find a way to beat the Argonauts, who have won the last 4 meetings between these two teams. And as you can see, it is just a sensational summer Saturday evening here in the foothills. Swayze Waters has it on the tee. Larry Taylor was brilliant in the first meeting between these two teams, an all-time special team record, and the Argos sent an early message here that he may not be able to run all over the field this time. Chandler Williams downfield in a hurry, and so was Ricky Foley.
Yeah, they know that Larry Taylor did a lot of damage against the Argos early in the year. Over 400 yards all-purpose, including 125-yard missed field goal return for a touchdown. They're down on this opening kickoff to send that message. 4 tacklers on number 2.
428 return yards in that game, the greatest single return game in CFL history. So Kevin Glenn goes to work, starting at the 26. And a handoff to John Cornish and a hole up the middle. John Cornish coming off that season best 170 yards rushing last week.
Yeah, he was outstanding and really finished that game, closed it in Hamilton. So Cornish is one of the guys we'll watch tonight. Nick Lewis leads the CFL with 43 catches and receiving touchdowns with 7. And we just talked about how dangerous Larry Taylor was when he faced the Toronto Argonauts.
Starters to watch brought to you by Rona, proud partner of the Canadian Football League. And it's 8 teams, 8 for Cornish to start the game, 2nd and 2. Back into the hands of Cornish once again, and this time nothing doing, and the Argos will force a 2 and out to start this game. Kevin Huntley in the middle of it.
113 of the 170 yards for John Cornish in the fourth quarter when the Calgary Stampeders and Hamilton wanted to seal the deal.
Cornish with 39 yards on 7 carries in the first meeting against the Argonauts. Well, we talked about Larry Taylor. What a great duel we'll have here today between Taylor and Chad Owens. 1 and 2 in all-purpose yards. Chad Owens leading the league.
Worth the price of admission.
See what he does on his first return. Skips up to the 35-yard line. And brought down by Keenan McDougall as Ricky Ray leads the Argo offense, revamped out onto the field.
Well, number 1 in all-purpose is Chad Owens in the middle of the starters to watch. Of course, Chad Cackard, a big story with the release of Corey Boyd, who is now an Edmonton Eskimo. That storyline continues here in Calgary from last night in Edmonton. And Andre Dury, 447 yards from scrimmage, and leads the Argos in yards after the catch.
Dury with a monster game against Calgary with 10 catches, 118 yards. The play action fake to Cackard, and here's Chad Owens getting outside. Gets a block across midfield. More big yards for Chad Owens. A huge start inside the 25-yard line.
Chad Owens on pace for over 1,000 yards receiving. He leads the team with 465, starts in the backfield and then comes out there and outflanks the entire Calgary defense for a huge play, the get-go for the Argos.
Andre Dury helps bring him. It's a 50-yard pickup for Owens. second biggest play from scrimmage for Chad Owens on the season. Argos coming out of the bye. And going to the attack immediately. Here's Cackert. A fake to Cackert and a pass outside, and that sails high on Ricky Ray, intended for Andre Dury.
Let's take a look at the Calgary defense. A couple guys we have our eyes on. One is Quincy Butler, rookie with 2 interceptions in the secondary. It would be Charleston Hughes, who's coming on. He has a couple of sacks, which leads the team along with Chris McCoy, and then Keon Raymond, the veteran, back there in the secondary, can really stabilize that group.
Corey Mace out. Deron Mayo comes in on the 2nd and 10 play for the Argos. Ray looks one way, now another, dumps it off, and Jason Barnes underneath is brought down at the 16-yard line. He'll be short of the first down.
Scott Milenovich did not even hesitate on the road in positive territory to go ahead and go for points here and put the field goal team in. He was about a yard or just over a yard. Well, maybe it's even 2.5. Like where they marked that football, he was about a yard away from the first down. I thought he might try to be tempted here to go ahead and try and go for that major.
Instead, a 23-yard field goal attempt by Swayze Waters. Both teams scored touchdowns on their opening possession in week 3. The Argos will score first on their opening possession with a field goal by Waters.
Your total preparation will carry the day for you. Okay? Your total preparation will allow you to be a consistent offense. Okay? It will allow you to have great production on first down. Okay? It will allow you to execute versus your pressure package. Okay? It's going to allow you to put touchdowns on the board.
In the pregame speech, John Huffnagel talked about Chris Jones, the former defensive coordinator for the Calgary Stampeders, moved to the Argos this year, and about his pressure package. They are prepared all week, I'm sure, to face Chris Jones and the different looks he will give you defensively.
Waters kick, and here again, Larry Taylor up across the 25, and the Argos swarm him, and the ball comes loose. And they'll get back on it, but back at the 16-yard line. Saved by Ken Petway. But the Argos cover team off to a good start.
Yeah, speaking of assistant coaches, I think Michael O'Shea talked a little bit about covering Larry Taylor and the kick coverage teams for the Toronto Argonauts. That's the second in a row now that they have been right there to stop him in his tracks, and this time caused a fumble.
Could have had the ball at the 35-yard line, but they want it in the hands of Taylor as much as possible. And for the 3rd straight play, John Cornish gets the handoff, working against a run defense that's ranked number 5 in the CFL.
And number 2 against the pass. That's Chris Jones' defense, the Toronto Argonauts, and that creates a great matchup tonight. A great chess match between defensive coordinator Jones and Dave Dickinson, the offensive coordinator of the Calgary Stampeders. And what a brilliant, innovative game plan he had in Hamilton, getting that run game going with 233 yards along the ground as a team. Robbie Bryant, 3 carries and a touchdown, running the football.
Good first down production again, 2nd and 3, a play action fake and a flip to Cote. Bounce off contact twice and should have the first down. Good second effort by Rob Cote, the Cochrane kid.
Really is a guy that actually is real important down around the goal line. He play a little tight end down there, and Kevin Glenn likes to look to him in the goal line area. He's got a touchdown rushing and good, tough, hard yards there from Rob Cote.
Touchdown against the Argonauts in week 3. So first down up across the 30-yard line. Glenn over the middle. There he is. Nick Lewis, who had 2 touchdowns against the Argos earlier this year, the leading receiver in the league in terms of catches with his 44th of the year.
That was against the zone defense. He'll get matched up against Brandon Isaac a ton here for the Argos here tonight. And he keeps that consecutive game streak with a catch going at 147.
Had a great rivalry with Isaac in practice over the last couple of years, and now it's a game rivalry. Here's a direct snap. And corners trying the left side, wrapped up by Marcus Ball. Check that, Ahmad Carroll with the tackle.
The Argo defensive starters we have our eyes on here tonight. A couple of former Calgary Stampeders. One being Brandon Isaac, who will get matched up if the Argos play, and when they play man-to-man, he will get matched up on Nick Lewis. Robert McCune, of course, playing in the middle. 30 tackles for McCune. That leads the Toronto Argonauts, a former Calgary Stampeder. And one change in the secondary, Pacino Horn in for Jalil Cardor. He'll play the corner, and they'll move Evan McCullough into halfback.
But all eyes on that Isaac-Lewis matchup, 2nd and 7. Johnny Forzani back in the Calgary lineup, missed last week in Hamilton. Pass to Chris Bauman, and it sails high on Bauman, incomplete.
And that was the matchup in that 2nd down situation, and why not? Nick Lewis leads the Canadian Football League in conversions, the money catches, I call him, with 17 catches to move the chains in 2nd down, and he was in man-to-man against Brandon Isaac on that last play. He just blocked on it, but that was the matchup, and we'll be watching that matchup tonight.
Brampton product, Rob Maver to punt. Had a good year after losing his place-kicking job last year in the opening game against the Toronto Argonauts. Puts this one out of bounds inside the 20. Goes with the lead on a field goal in their first possession. Still waiting to see Chad Cackert become a part of this Argo offensive scheme.
Last time he was in the regular rotation at running back was back in August of 2011. This is his 5th start in the CFL. Played a little bit when Corey Boyd was injured at the beginning of last year.
Another fake to Cackert, and Ricky Ray throws that away.
Cackert's limited action, and I agree with Milt Stiegel in one regard, and that is that you have to wait and see him play a little bit before you can really judge, but a nice 6.1 yard average when he has played. Comparison, I guess this year, Corey Boyd's average is at 5.5 yards per rush. But as a running back sees the ball a lot more, that average can obviously change. So we'll take a look at Chad Cackert.
2nd and 10. Short drop. And looking for Dontrell Inman. Well covered on the play by Quincy Butler. And more pressure on Ricky Ray, which was an issue in their last start against the BC Lions.
Well, and that's what Scott Milanovic is looking for Cackert to do. He calls the tailback position the eraser. Any stunts, any blitzes, he wants the tailback to pick him up. Now, Cackert's in behind Ricky Ray on this replay. He's going to face a stunt, and he gets a little caught up and a little tight to the line of scrimmage and doesn't get the help that Scott Milanovic is looking for.
Pressure right up the middle by Corey Mace.
I'm guessing Cackert's fighting some nerves as well early in this game.
Waters kick fielded by Taylor near midfield, and again the covered team down in a hurry, dropping Larry Taylor at the 50 after a 41-yard punt.
Okay, go ahead, out the middle.
Kevin Glenn took over the reins of the Calgary Stampeders after this injury in week 3 to Drew Tate.
Ironically, last year, Drew Tate started to win the job as the Calgary starting quarterback over Henry Burris in Toronto. Goes back to Toronto this year, and it was that game that put him on the 9-game injury.
What a relief job by Glenn. 15 of 19 in Toronto. Takes a shot here. Robbie Bryant's open, and he's got it down at the 20-yard line. And they're ruling him down there and touch, but Robbie Bryant has a big catch from Kevin Glenn, putting the Stampeders in scoring position. It's a 38-yarder.
Well, Robbie Bryant doesn't make any mistake at the top of the route here. He wants to come back and get the ball. Kevin Glenn's going to take a hit and get rolled on. Looked like he hurt his ankle, but it was David Lee They kind of fell on Kevin Glenn. He got up real slow, limping back towards the huddle.
Glenn looking for a penalty. Robbie Bryant did not have a catch in Hamilton. He did have a touchdown run in that game, but quiet at wideout. Glenn steps up and he gets buried. Ball may have come loose at the end of the play as Ronald Flemons takes Kevin Glenn down. And now a late flag. Cornish, I think. And Brandon Isaacs agitated. I'm not sure what happened there as John Cornish made his way back to the huddle, well away from the play. But Cornish was upset on the previous series. There was a little skirmish after a tackle.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, Calgary number 9, 15-yard penalty, second down.
So Cornish to the sidelines. It was Ricky Foley on the last series, and that well away from the football and after the play was over.
Well, it remained second down. Marcus Ball knocks him down when he didn't have the football in the flat. He comes back, gives him that little bump, and that was enough.
So second and long. Glenn standing in, flag down. Lewis the catch. Down to the 23-yard line. Let's check the flag. 15-yard pickup for Nick Lewis.
Gets him back to the original line of scrimmage if the play stands. But they're talking to the Argos about the options, which means it's going against Calgary.
Procedure, illegal formation, no end, Calgary. 5-yard penalty, second down repeated.
So it'll be second down over again, and now 33 for Calgary. And the ball back at the 44-yard line, which
is out of field goal range.
Yeah.
Well, the Calgary the Stamps do have the wind at their back right now, but it would be a long field goal attempt. Longest so far for Rennie Paredes has been 46 yards this year.
That's 30.
So they'll try and enhance the field goal positioning here on the screen, and Matt Walter is dropped deep, but Lee with the tackle. That's another loss back to the 48-yard line. And now very unlikely that John Hufnagel would attempt a field goal.
Last time these two teams played, the Calgary Stampeders had a real kind of sloppy game. They came back and they fought their way back largely because of the return ability of Larry Taylor, but they had 95 yards in penalties in that game, 4 sacks and 4 turnovers.
So the major penalty to John Cornish, the 15-yarder, very costly, takes potential points off the board. And Maver will look for the corner. A line drive that bounces out inside the 10. Good boot by Maver.
Interesting punt team formation and radical releases from the Calgary Stampeders on that last punt. I'm going to show you how they go so hard to the left in the direction of the kick from Rob Maver. It helps in the coverage lanes. Go ahead and run it, guys, but it can open up the possibility of a block for the Toronto Argonauts from the backside when you're releasing that radically to one direction. Michael O'Shea sees that. He may be able to go in there and say, look, go hard from the backside. You might have a chance to get one.
Here's Chad Cacker trying to kick it outside, and he'll get wrestled down at the line of scrimmage. Play made by Jamar Wall in for Brandon Smith at defensive halfback.
I mentioned that Chad Cacker's got to be fighting a little bit of nerves here. You know, we've talked many times when a player gets cut or traded how he wants to go back against his old team and show the coach that he didn't make a good decision. Well, for Cackert, it's the opposite. He wants to prove to everyone that Scott Milanovic made the right decision and have a good game tonight because of it. The problem with that is you don't want to try and do too much.
2nd and 9. Ricky Ray coming back to the ball. A catch made by Jason Barnes up at the 20-yard line, close to a first down. See where they spot the football. They want to get Jason Barnes involved a little bit more. Comes in with just a dozen catches on the year.
Well, good second effort from him. I want to show you Cackard come up and show you a little bit of that pass protection from Chad Cackard, and the eraser at tailback to step in and help on that defensive end. That gave Ricky Ray a chance to get it out there, and a little second effort from Jason Barnes did move the chains.
And it is enough as they put the football right on the 20. Jeff Johnson has checked into the offense. And around the edge was Watt on the fake. The throw for Barnes is behind him, and Quincy Butler in pretty good defensive position for Calgary.
I like the way Quincy Butler and Fred Bennett have been playing. Two newcomers to the Canadian Football League, and Butler leads the team in interceptions with 2. Also leads the team in knockdowns with 5. When you talk about those two guys, they were tested early. They combined for well over almost 30 tackles in the first couple of games between the two because teams were going after them. See how they would hold up. And they did well.
But for the 50-yarder to Chad Owens, it's been a slow start for Ricky Ray, who piled up 407 yards. Here's Andre Dury, and Dury has a first down as he's upended across the 30. Ricky Ray had 407 yards passing in the first meeting against Calgary, 30 for 40 in that game.
Really starting to get on a roll and in rhythm, and then had a setback in this team's last game against the BC Lions, where in his first 2 series had turnovers. 1 interception, 1 a hit that was knocked loose, and 2 turnovers gave the Lions an early lead and early field position. So they had a bit of a setback, but a great game against the Stamps, as you mentioned.
Just 220 net yards against the Lions. Here's Ray, open man, and away goes Johnson. Jeff Johnson to midfield, it's still going. Johnson checking down to the 26-yard line. Well, the veteran playing in his 175th game as an Argo, the 13-year man with a 52-yard play.
You know, and what a great career that Jeff Johnson has put together. You know, a guy who was an undrafted free agent, walked on to Hamilton's camp in 2000, made the team and started that year, played that year dressed, and has dressed almost ever since. And whenever he's asked to do anything, he does it well.
And if something happens to Chad Cackard, he's the next man in line at the running back spot, but out of the fullback hole. Big gain. There's a completion. Dontrell Inman's got the catch, and he's tossed down at the 21-yard line.
Played his college football at York, 5'10", 219 yards, and it's just a great example of, you know, when you talk about the CIS draft and what round is a player going in. Jeff Johnson wasn't even drafted, but he went in and worked out, got some teams to take a look at him. Hamilton bit, dressed that year, and as you mentioned, over 200 games now in the Canadian Football League, just shy of 200 in Toronto. Great career for him.
They go double tight ends here. And out of the backfield, the pass out of the reach of Chad Cackard. And like the opening drive of the game, one big play gets them into field goal position, and they can't advance any further. The Argos closing in on 7 quarters now without a touchdown. Last touchdown was the second quarter against Montreal. No touchdowns against the BC Lions in their last game.
And it seems we've been talking about red zone issues with Toronto all year. When you're on the road, it's magnified.
So Swayze Waters back in, this from 27 yards out. Splits the uprights, and the Argos double their lead. That's the final play of the opening quarter. A couple of field goals for Scott Milanovich's crew, up by 6. Our first quarter stats brought to you by Rona, proud partner of the CFL.
Well, we've had
it's 8 teams.
I'm sorry, Chris. We've had 170 yards net between the two teams. most of that yardage coming on 3 plays. The long one to Robbie Bryant for the Calgary Stampeders, and then Chad Owens out of the gate in Series 1 for the Toronto Argonauts, and then Jeff Johnson's last play there. So 3 plays accounting for most of the yards in that first quarter.
You know, there was a lot of controversy about Corey Boyd. In the offseason, the Argos let some veterans go like Willie Pyle from their defense, and people wondered with a rebuilt defense and so many new faces what it would be like. But I think we saw in that first quarter, and we've seen in the first third of the season, this Argo defense led by Chris Jones is pretty formidable. John Cornish trying to change that, and he nearly found a crease up across the 45-yard line. Robert McCune, the tackle. Let's check in with Sean Churchill.
Thank you very much, Chris. You had mentioned Johnny Forzani missed the last game. Well, he missed almost all of the first quarter. Doctors took him off to have a look at an apparent hand injury. He has returned. This is his second series back, but it's an injury we will definitely watch. Guys?
Forzani missing the game in Hamilton with a flu bug. The 11-yard pickup for Cornish, a first down at the 46. Kevin Glenn, the hitch. Here's R.J. Franklin in for Forzani, and he's across midfield, another Calgary first down.
Just a couple of catches in limited playing time for R.J. Franklin, but he is the guy that can sub in and move in. Looks like he's a little nicked up, banged up after that play. A little slow to get up for Johnny Forzani. He's a wide receiver out here, going to step back into that hitch area. And has a little chemistry, a little familiarity with Kevin Glenn. Remember back in the Winnipeg days for Kevin Glenn? They played together there.
R.J. Franklin, a 7-year veteran out of Windsor. And speaking of that, best wishes to all the CIS teams as they open camps this weekend, getting ready for the 2012 season. Franklin to the sidelines, and Johnny Forzani will take his spot in the Calgary huddle. And now Forzani comes to the sidelines. Larry Taylor checks in. That game against Toronto, Taylor with 441 yards of offense, 13 as a receiver, and a lot of movement as Taylor ends up in the backfield and a carry straight ahead. Flag comes down as Taylor is dropped at the 45-yard line.
Lined up in the tailback spot on that play. I think for Dave Dickinson, the challenge when you put Larry Taylor on the field is not to give it to him every time.
Major foul, face mask, Toronto. 15-yard penalty, first down.
What I mean by that is that it becomes a real tendency and that the defense can lock in if the substitution is made and Taylor comes on the field. At times, Dave Dickinson's going to, there's their penalty for face mask. You can see his turn right inside. Was that Ejiro Kowali?
Looks like it. So a 15-yarder advances it into scoring range, a 7-yard pickup, 22-yard net after the penalty, and a first down Calgary at the Argo 30-yard line. Kevin Glenn over the middle has a completion. And the catch made once again by Nick Lewis.
John Cornish was hit hard and is real slow to get up here. I believe it was Brandon Isaac, and again, did not have the football. He's slow to get off, and he's going to have to just barely. This is the second time in this game early on. I mean, here's his right here, playing in the slot back spot on the short side. Now he's going to cross. He doesn't get the ball, and he's just relaxed there, and Brandon Isaac steps into him again.
And Cornish down on the sidelines. Pat Clayton working on him. Matt Walter is the backup running back for Calgary.
The timing on those hits are very close. I mean, Brandon Isaac can step up and protect his territory and try and eliminate crossing routes. That was a little late in the process, though. And when I mean it's close, so you wait too long and hit a guy like that who's not looking, that doesn't have the football, you can draw the unnecessary roughness penalty.
66.
Some movement on that line. John Huffnagel so happy with the young offensive lineman last week.
Procedure, Calgary number 66. 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
That's Stanley Bryant making his first start at left tackle for the injured Edwin Harrison last week. Spencer Wilson made his first CFL start at left guard, and Jamichael Dean had his first start at right tackle. This offensive line has been reconfigured almost every week.
And Abi Khan, who's not dressed tonight, was signed this week by the Calgary Stampeders. He's there for depth on the bomber.
Kevin Glenn has time. He's got Lewis. Nick Lewis down to the 5-yard line. It's first and goal, Calgary. And with the catch, Nick Lewis passes Jim Sandusky and gets in the ear of Brandon Isaac, his old teammate, and a flag flies. So the veteran Lewis makes a mistake that's going to cost Calgary 15.
Brandon Isaac, he's going to run this out, Nick Lewis, and this is his money route. Jason Tucker, he had that corner route that he just perfected. Nick Lewis has that deep out down.
Calgary number 82, 10-yard penalty, first down.
And they were going back and forth in the newspaper. Lewis saying that Brandon Isaac could not cover him in one-on-one, that he needed to get help from teammates in a double team or to play zone defense. Isaac said he only gave up one against Nick Lewis. It was a touchdown, but that continued and Lewis drew the flag. Or got flagged.
So they back it up 10. First and 10 from the 15. Kevin Glenn on a roll back inside and nearly intercepted. Well, Nick Lewis just keeps climbing the all-time ladder. Closing in on Rocky DiPietro.
See that tonight too.
And now within 8 catches of passing Pinball Clements on the all-time catch list. Pinball currently 11th, and Nick Lewis has him in his sights. By the end of the year at his pace, he will be just outside the top 10 in yards receiving. Kevin Glenn under pressure, steps up, and Glenn will be wrapped down at the 11-yard line. So the Argo defense with a stop.
Chris, this has been an area down in the field in Calgary that Dave Dickinson has been pretty good at. You just saw that graphic go up on the board showing you 74% of the time in the red zone, Calgary's come away with touchdowns, #1 in the CFL. Argo scrambled to hold them there and force the field goal attempt.
Clemens the tackle, but David Lee seeing regular action at defensive end, the rookie out of Western, with the initial pressure on Kevin Glenn.
Yeah, 2 plays from the backside now for Lee. Those are hustle plays.
So Rene Paredes from 18 yards out, and he'll put Calgary on the board. 6-3 here early, second quarter. With James Cebulski on radio every week to make his picks, and I'm
guessing it's Toronto every week.
We would assume that he picked the Argos over the Stamps.
It's one of those games again between these two teams. You mentioned the Argos winning 4 straight, and they've all been close, down to the wire.
10 points, the difference in those 4 games, none by over a field goal. Here's Owens, that ability to shift gears. He's up across the 30, and Walter Spencer comes up swinging, and there's no love lost between these two teams. so far in this game. There's the numbers for Ricky Ray on the strength of 2 big plays, a 50-yarder to Owens and a 52-yard pass to Jeff Johnson.
You know, week 4 and 5 for Ricky Ray, he was really starting to get on that roll, as I mentioned earlier. 615 yards, had 5 touchdowns and just 1 interception. The setback last week was no touchdown passes and 3 picks. Didn't get to the 300-yard mark. See if he can tonight against the tough Calgary defense.
Here's Chad Cackert trying to bounce it outside to the 35-yard line, just a couple. His season high was 407 against Calgary. The season low was that game against BC at 215. Of course, you were here for Calgary's last game, and the Lions didn't give Calgary much offensively either.
Listening to John Hufnagel talk about Chad Cackert, who joined the Canadian Football League here in Calgary, was brought in by the Stampeders, pulled his hamstring and was gone a week later.
2nd and 8, Ray sets up, he looks for Chad Owens, got him! Got past Chris Randall, and Chad Owens is into Calgary territory and out of bounds near the 50-yard line.
Now, we've talked about sometimes slot backs running routes, and they read the defense, and if it's going to be a zone defense, he's right here. If it's going to be a zone defense, they stop right about there. If it's man-to-man, they continue out. So watch how Chad Owens continues to evolve and get better and improve as a slot back. We know he's a great returner, but that's a good indication that he's starting to understand the slot back spot. He saw man and he ran right to the sideline.
25 yards, he's 2 for 75 in the game. Here's the little screen to Cackert, and he's got a first down, gets bounced out. So the best play for Chad Cackert in this first half moves the chains once again.
You know, that's one of the things at the beginning of this game that Matt Dunnigan said in the studio, that you know, he felt that Chad Cackert may be a little better for the Argos in this part of the game, where as opposed to Corey Boyd, catching that football on the dump passes and being able to turn and quickly make something happen out of that throw. It's an example of it.
Ricky Ray averaging almost 22 yards of completion so far. Back inside and a hole for Cackert, and he runs through a arm tackle close to another first down. We talked to the Argos head coach about what Chad Cackert brings to the Argo offense.
He plays with everything he has. He's not a large guy, but he's going to give it everything he has. He's a great teammate. He's got some speed. He's got the ability to get outside and make some big plays catching the football. And the key for Chad is just going to be to take things as they come. There's pressure on him too, and he doesn't feel like he needs to do anything spectacular. All he has to do is go out there and do his job. And I think he's going to do just fine.
13-yard catch and a 9-yard run, and Jarius Jackson, the short yardage team, on to get a first down on that plunge, down to the 25.
And by now in the game, Chad Cackert is settled in. I mean, I know he was fighting some nerves early on, getting this chance, all the talk all week in Toronto about the move, and some fans didn't like it, that Corey Boyd was leading the Canadian Football League when they let him go, but the Argos, quite frankly, just feel like they're better off with him at tailback. Gives him a better chance to win. And it's as simple as that. And you know that he would have had those nerves early on to show his head coach he made the right decision, but he'd be settled in by now, taking a few hits.
4 touches, 25 yards for Cackert in the game. First down, and Ray throws that one away with pressure coming. It looked like Chris Randall on a linebacker blitz. So 2nd and 10 and the 7th play of the drive upcoming.
Yeah, Chris Randall comes here and he comes delayed on this blitz, and when he does, he doesn't bite at all for the play action because it happened so much earlier. That little hesitation allowed Randall to see that there was no handoff to Cackert, so he went straight to Ricky Ray, and Ray didn't have a receiver facing him.
And the Argos have to call timeout. There was some confusion as Andre Dury was headed off and didn't seem to have the right complement on the field midway through this second quarter.
As they all check their wristbands, there is that communication. They have the speaker in their helmet so they can tell from the sideline. Ricky Ray, the number play they'd like, and then Ray goes to the wristband to look at that corresponding play with the number that's called. It also allows them, if something happens to that communication, that line of communication, they can start to signal from the bench.
So 2nd and 10 from the 25. Jawan Simpson on the blitz. Ray steps up, trying to get outside, and he slides down at the 15. That's where he had to get for a first down. Don't see it much from Ricky Ray, but every once in a while, he'll take off and moves the chains.
This year in 6 games, just 9 times. And his average about 5 yards, so he doesn't do it very often. You're absolutely right. But when he does, he can fool you. He's deceptively quick. And that little move right there caught Eric Fraser, because he had a good angle on him. And he bounced outside, caught Eric Fraser. He lost the angle.
Well, they didn't give him the 15. They mark it at the 16, so he's just short. Jarius Jackson will come on, but the length of the football short of a first down. Again, the Argos without a touchdown in 7.5 quarters. Stalled in the red zone and settled for 2 field goals already. And Jackson will plunge in. Get the first down behind left guard Wayne Smith as Smith moves from left tackle to left guard. And Tony Washington, the former Stampeder, who had 5 starts last year for Calgary, in at left tackle. Big number 65. It's the first game the Argos have not gone all Canadian on the offensive line this season.
This is an area that Scott Milanovic hopes that with an aggressive offensive line that can get some chemistry, they can be better when they're inside the red zone. Real contrast between these two teams. Dave Dickinson's offense so far this year, 74% touchdowns in the red zone. It's been an issue for the Argos.
Now double tight ends, Andrew Jones, Jeff Johnson, the tight ends. Ricky Ray, here's Cackert. Chad Cackert cuts it back. And he's down inside the 5-yard line, close to another first down.
Coming out of the backfield here, a little play action to Chad Owens going in one direction. And when Chad Owens is going full speed one way, you know the defense is going to freeze for a split second. Allows Chad Cackert to get outside.
And there's an area that they felt Cackert would be better in this offense as a receiver. Corey Boyd, 23 catches, only 70 yards as an Argo in the first third of the year. So first and goal, just inside the 5. Hand off, or fake to Cackert. The pass, Inman is dumped at the 2-yard line. Keon Riemann, the tackle.
Boy, one of those plays where ifs and buts. If Ricky Ray hands the ball to Chad Cackert there, it looked like he would walk in. Cackert is standing to his right. And what he wants to do is get Inman out of the backfield and hope that the entire defense pulls into Cackert. They didn't. Stayed outside and makes the tackle short of the touchdown.
Long drive. This the 11th play, trying to cap it with a touchdown. Ray directs traffic. And they run out of time.
Wow.
Violation. Toronto number 15. 5-yard penalty.
You know what?
And was that the newcomer?
Yeah, and it looked like to me Ricky Ray wanted to get Chad Cackert lined up right because he's standing to his left. You can take a look. You can see the conversation. He's standing to his left. They're trying to point out the block. He said, no, you back up there, man. Hey, dude, get back there. You got a play to run, and he runs out of time because of it. By the way, in fairness to Corey Boyd, this is where Corey Boyd was very good. Inside that 5-yard line, give him the ball, he'd get it in there.
Now second and goal from the 7. Ray stands in, dumps it off. Cackert underneath is Brought down quickly. That's Jawan Simpson, the middle linebacker. And again, the Argos drive stalls.
It stalls just because of an alignment issue before a mistake made before the snap of the football. And those are the ones that just drive coaches nuts because they have only a couple yards, 3 yards to go, 4 yards to go if they don't have that too long in the huddle delay of game penalty.
So Waters on from 11 out. His third field goal of the game. Just under 4 minutes left, first half. Long drive by the Argos, 12 plays, 73 yards, almost 7 minutes off the clock. And an offside as Kawali jumps, unless drawn.
Yeah, it was a long drive. Gave their defense a rest. They got a little jumpy. They've been sitting on the bench for so long,
Offside.
7 minutes.
Toronto number 5. 5-yard penalty. It remains first down.
Kawali again. You know, but the one thing I was going to mention that Scott Milenovich right now has got to be a little more frustrated with his red zone lack of production right now. I mean, it's been an issue all year, but the Argos aren't kicking long field goals. They've been as deep as the Calgary 2, the Calgary 16, and the Calgary 20 and had to settle for field goals.
1st and 5, Kevin Glenn, 7 for 9, guns it deep. Johnny Forzani's got it. And Forzani down to the 20-yard line as he gets behind Pacino Horn.
You know, Pacino Horn was in chase. I wonder about Evan McCullough, too. And there's the halfback here. Let's take a look. There's Pacino Horn down here. And Forzani's running that, basically, that skinny post inside the numbers. And I think it was McCullough who gets caught up. In fact, he was supposed to be in the deep outside third zone, number 24. And he gets caught on that inside receiver, stops his feet moving. Forzani goes right behind.
Ernest Jackson had a big play like that for BC. In the Argos last game, it set up the game-winning touchdown, a 50-yarder to Forzani. And now Nick Lewis, another catch. There's Isaac in the area. And the Argos rally to the football, and Horn brings Lewis down. 3-minute warning here, first half. Calgary trailing, but threatening.
Some zone defense, and this is that play to Nick Lewis. I'm going to show you one more time the guy who has some problems here. It's Evan McCullough. He gets held up in this zone on Marquay McDaniel. Hold it here. McCullough's got to be out here in the flat in this play, not staying that far deep on the zone. That opens up that outside area for Lewis.
2nd and 2. Cornish back in the game, and he gets driven back. Had to get across the 10. Let's see where forward progress is given. John Cornish recovering from that hit leveled by Brandon Isaac early in this second quarter. And it is a first down.
Let's show you again. Let's show you again on this play. And McCullough getting a little too deep on this zone on that first down. The reason I want to show you is because the Calgary Stampeders are going after that side with Pacino Horn. And Evan McCullough have to switching position.
Fake to Cornish, Glenn in trouble, and he gets swamped back at the 14-yard line. Ricky Foley there to bring down Kevin Glenn, his second sack of the year. Foley's been a little frustrated that not playing the conventional defensive end position, not necessarily getting the same number of stats. And Marcus Ball might have beat him to that sack.
He might have got there, but what Foley did nice there was chip on the receiver coming out, slow his progress, and then get up the field.
So 2nd and goal from the 13, looking for the first touchdown of the game. Glenn for McDaniel. And the pass, are they going to rule complete or not? Pacino Horn over the top, and in any event, they are ruling a catch, but at the 6, it'll be 3rd down. Third and goal, and the ball on the 7.
He did get his hands underneath it. This is more just for his stats because they're short either way.
So Paredes to try another short field goal. Out of the hold of Bo Levi Mitchell. And the offense is settled for 3 once again. And a 3-point Argo lead. For the first prize, the longest of the 5 field goals so far has been 27 yards. Owens had a little trouble that may have fought the sun. Now picks it up and doesn't reach the 30, but makes a little bit more out of it after a near disaster.
Sometimes you watch Chad Owens play, and he, even on a play like that where he mishandles the ball a little bit, you see the pile of cover guys bouncing around with him. You lose him amongst all the other players that are so much bigger, and yet you just see the pile kind of move as he kind of chops his feet and keeps alive, and look at the pace he's on.
No player's ever been over 4,000 yards total, only Pinball with the 3 different 1,000-yard seasons. And that pass will sail over the head of Dontrell Inman, who scored or checked that Jason Barnes was the intended target, 2nd and 10. Ricky Ray has not been able to really go downfield for a couple of games now.
Well, you know, he's going after these newcomers in it, and Quincy Butler is in his hip pocket. I mean, that you can't play it any better. Look, just nowhere to throw the football there.
His success has been with the passes underneath. 2nd and 10. Big one way, Cackard's got it. Trying to get a block. Chad Cackard will be tossed down at the 34. That'll be well short of the first down. And Calgary's going to get the football back one more time in this first half.
Argo's cover team's done a better job against Larry Taylor, but you have to be consistent with it. Larry Taylor back there, the only returner for Calgary right now, so they'll be setting up that return for him.
And for the punt team, the only guy missing was the punter, which was a problem. And now Swayze Waters, I'm not sure if he could find his helmet on the bench. There was a mad scramble back there.
Well, and it was funny watching the personal protectors back there. I'm wondering if they were saying, does anyone know how to kick? Because our guy isn't out here.
Pressure on Waters, who gets away a booming kick, and it's outside the numbers. Larry Taylor gets surrounded, and the cover team gets the job done again at the 21-yard line. That's a 60-yard boot by Waters after he finally made his way onto the field.
That might become his new punt routine.
Coming up, GMC Live at the half. We'll check in with the guys, Matt Schultze, Milt, and Dave Randorf. We'll talk about Nick Lewis and get another opinion on that shot by Brandon Isaac on John Cornish early in the second quarter.
Yeah, I think the second one there could have and probably should have been called. It was quite a bit late, but as I mentioned, the timing is close because Brandon Isaac's allowed to protect his area, and Cornish has got to tighten up a little bit.
See what Kevin Glenn can do with just over a minute. Short pass, McDaniel slides off one, and then gets taken down.
What I mean by that, on crossing routes or a back comes out of the backfield and you're a defensive player, as long as you keep your shoulder pad square to the line of scrimmage, you can protect your area, and Brandon Isaac can do that. He can eliminate a crossing route if it's coming into his area with physical contact. What he can't do is well after the play with a player that's not looking, doesn't have the ball, step up and hit. So, you know, I guess depending on who you're cheering for is probably your decision on that last one, but it's close.
2nd and 4. And Cornish runs into a wall, trying to power his way for extra yardage, but he'll come up short. At the 31-yard line.
That was Ronald
Had
Fleming.
to get to the 32.
And Nick Lewis limping to the sideline. And that's got to be a concern. Big time, your leading receiver Leads in catches, second in yards, leads in first down catches.
Going to bring the chains out. Looks like they're going to be a yard short. Nick Lewis has passed a couple of guys on the all-time list today, both Jim Sandusky and Rocky DiPietro. Third and about a yard, and a decision to make for John Hufnagel. And he's thinking about it.
I think that's Nick Lewis there. Yeah, it is. He steps up, and look, Cornish, as he gets twisted, kind of clips him.
So Lewis on the sidelines, and Bo Levi Mitchell's coming in. The short yardage team's going to try this.
Now, Levi Mitchell has tried to go along the line of scrimmage when he runs these plays.
Or are they just going to run the clock down? Can't run it out. He does plunge ahead. I'm not sure. Wondered if they were just going to stand up at the line, see if the Argos jumped offside. 7 seconds left. If they didn't get the yardage, the Argos can
kick a field goal. Yeah,
kick a field goal in the final play of the first half.
And this will be close. They're going to give it to him.
It is a first down.
Without a measurement. I thought it was closer than an automatic.
Argos are surveying it. But they do move the chains.
You look at that marker in behind. And now they'll kill it. First half.
So time expires as the teams put 5 field goals on the board, none longer than 27. And the Argos lead by 3 at the half at McMahon. It's 9-6, headed to the second half of the rematch. But first, Sean Churchill standing by with Keon Raymond.
Keon, a lot of nastiness and a lot of intensity out there. Is that something you can feed off going into the second half?
I think so. I think we just got to hold everything to a minimum, though. You know what I mean? It's going to be a hard-fought game. We got to make sure that that nastiness doesn't occur in the penalties. And that's the biggest thing that's been hurting us so far this first half.
What is the defense doing so right against Ricky Ray to keep him off the board?
I think the biggest thing of us, Ricky Ray has a big arm, and he likes to chunk it deep. And we're just dropping in our zones right, making sure he uses his check downs, and hopefully he forces one sooner or later, and we're able to make a play.
Thank you so much. Good luck in the second half.
All right, thank you.
Ricky Ray has not been able to push the ball deep. He's been checking the football down. The Calgary defense has done a better job over the last 3 games. In the league stats, a big play passing is 30 yards or better. They gave up 3 in the last 3 games. They gave up 10 in the first 3.
And you can see that the Argos have had trouble scoring majors their last 31 seconds into the second quarter against Montreal. None since. Flag flies. Chad Owens, the ball came loose, but play whistled down. Big hit by Mark Calise, the special teams captain for the Calgary Stampeders, 10-year veteran.
Illegal block, Toronto number 97. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Xander Robinson draws the flag, and the Argos will start at the 15.
Yeah, and you follow him. He doesn't even hide it. He's coming along here, and it's on Malik Jackson. Waits, gets him half at the side, but don't leave it in the hands of the official on those special teams.
Fake to Cackert, pressure from Hughes, and the pass incomplete. Charleston Hughes off the edge, and Ricky Ray slowly gets to his feet. Check the offensive leaders for the Argos through 30 minutes.
Let's see what Chad Cacker's doing. First of all, he's 43 yards of offense. Ricky Ray in that first half is on pace for over 300. All purpose, by the way, when you match them up. Chad Owens, we're going 1 on 1 and 2 with Larry Taylor coming into this game. Owens with 117 all-purpose, Taylor 35. The cover teams for the Argos have been better.
2nd and 10. Ray steps up, fires it high over the head of Cackard, incomplete. Quick 2 and out to start the second half. That's the third 2 and out of the game for the Argos, and Calgary should start the second half in great field position. Larry Taylor dropping back to the Stampeder 45-yard line. As you see, Waters with a great boot last time out, 60 yards. And this one will be fielded at the 41. Taylor going to try and get outside, and that's a great tackle on the play by Mike Bradwell. Otherwise, there might have been some room around the corner for Larry Taylor.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that is a little different between Swayze Waters and Noel Prefontaine, and Prefontaine's a great kicker and has had a great career, so this is not a shot at him. It's Swayze Waters puts some serious hang time on his punts, and what that does, it allows the cover team to get down there and get set up on a guy like Larry Taylor, and they've been real successful with it tonight.
54-yarder. Calgary starts at their 42. Short drop Glenn, and he's got Rambi Bryant. Watkins on his back. And here's who's done the most damage for Calgary offensively in a quiet first half.
I always wonder how John Cornish is doing coming off that 170-yard rush game. He had 36 yards rushing in the first half. As Matt Denigan mentioned at halftime, both these defenses giving up some yards and some big plays in the middle of the field and then digging in the goal line area.
Cornish is actually 11 yards ahead of last week's pace. He had 125 rushing yards in the second half, and as you mentioned, 113 in the fourth quarter. Takes the direct snap here and is pushed out of bounds at the 52. Should have a first down.
Well, it was getting frustrating for John Cornish prior to last week's game. Well documented what happened after the BC game when he had just -1 yards. There's his season numbers in the Hamilton 170. By the way, in case you're curious, the record for rushing yards in a single game was set back in 1960. Ron Stewart had 287 yards rushing for the Ottawa Rough Riders.
John Cornish, the top Canadian and the offensive player of the week. A double honor for him. First down, a fake to Cornish and Kevin Glenn with pressure on, throws that high. Brandon Isaac off the edge, Marcus Ball also putting pressure on the Calgary quarterback.
Yeah, I think Chris Bauman either broke off his route or ran the wrong route. And you could tell by the frustration from Kevin Glenn because he had two guys basically side by side, Bauman being one of them, and he threw it deep to where Bauman should have been. Here he is right here, and I think that was the route that Kevin Glenn wanted. And watch Bauman just kind of put the brakes on, and now you got two Calgary Stampeders standing about 3 yards apart, and that's not the way you want it offensively.
2nd and 10. Glenn works down the sidelines for Bryant, and it's incomplete. Bryant against Watkins. And is there a flag down along the sidelines?
Right in the middle of the field, there was one. In that defensive secondary, and I wonder if it's illegal contact away from where the ball was thrown.
Illegal contact. Toronto number 8. 10-yard penalty. First down.
It is away from the football. Ahmad Carroll. Just wondering, by the way Bryant reacted, looked like he thought he'd been interfered with.
Yeah, I don't think Pat Watkins, that ball kind of hit him right in the back, so. But this is Ahmad Carroll. There's the jam there, and he's pulling on Nick Lewis and not letting him release.
Might be the only way to stop Nick Lewis. Here's Glenn on a roll. Larry Taylor, and he gets taken down after a 3-yard pickup at the 45-yard line.
You know, that's an interesting point you make up. I mean, how do you stop Nick Lewis? Especially on second down when you know that that's where the Calgary Stampeders want to go. He leads the league coming in those money catches. He's so physical that if you get up and you try and jam him at the line, he's going to win that battle. And if you give him space, he's a tremendous route runner with a good high football IQ, knowing when to sit down in zones and when to run those man cuts.
6 more second down conversion catches than the next best in the league. Second down here, downfield, and incomplete, intended for Bauman. Matt Black over there in coverage, helping out for the Argos.
So very difficult to try and cover a guy like Nick Lewis, who in this case here, he runs that patent it out. But here's the way I do it. I put 2 guys high and play what's called a cover 2-man, where you put 2 guys high and deep, and that's what the Toronto Argonauts do there. Stop it for a second. They've got 2 guys high. Now they end up throwing it out here. Nick Lewis is up here. They got man-to-man underneath. 2 defenders high. Nick Lewis was open on the outcut and wanted the football.
Now Maver looking for the corner again on a pop, and Chad Owens attacks that. And Chad Owens across the 20-yard line.
To get a man on Nick Lewis and have help over the top. And they successful in getting the ball back to their offense because of it.
Argos started the second half 2 and out. They get a big play here on first down as Chad Cackert runs it out to the 35 and has 13 and a first down.
Argos' issues offensively is about trying to find a receiver that can stretch the field a little bit more, even to the intermediate level. And it could be a timing issue, just Ricky Ray not getting enough time to throw from the pocket. But it's been pretty quiet for Jason Barnes, Dontrell Inman. We haven't even talked about Spencer Watt and even Chad Owens as a receiver, other than the 1 play early.
Inman 3 catches, 107 yards, 2 touchdowns in the first meeting against Calgary. First down out of the backfield. Cackert's got the catch. Malik Jackson there, but Cackert makes them miss, and he's still going, and the extra effort gets him the first down.
Andre Dury's been quiet in this game tonight. He's got just 1 touch. And number 32 released from the tight end spot there on that out as they dumped it off to Chad Cackert underneath. It's a nice first down play.
Back-to-back first down plays. First on the ground and now through the air to Chad Cackert.
Oh, that's great second effort there. He broke about 4 tackles.
Dury in motion. Quick hitter, it's complete. Inman the catch. Malik Jackson on the scene, so 3 catches for Inman. Inman had 1 go through his hands against Calgary that turned out to be an interception. It was a tough start to the day, but he certainly atoned in the game in Toronto.
Well, it may be just that Ricky Ray hasn't had the time to get it to him, but he came into this game leading the CFL in yards per catch. He can get in behind coverage. He's a long strider that has the speed to do it. He was averaging just shy of 20 yards per catch.
Second and 4. Close to midfield. Ray. And Inman stretches out and makes the catch. Flag at the end of the play.
Did he use 1 hand to do that?
That's a heck of an effort. And it is close to a first down.
You know, he's running away from us. And I thought he just stuck out the left hand and stabbed this pigskin. Watch him work on that bang route.
Wow.
Hey, he did.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Calgary number 25. 15-yard penalty, first down.
That's nice. And there's a late hit from Keon Raymond.
Jam to the helmet, and Raymond gets the 15 yards after telling Sean Churchill that we can't take penalties.
I was about to say, didn't he just answer that question? Just talked about just pulling it back a little bit and not taking bad penalties. That's a nice catch by Dontrell Inman.
Was it ever?
1-hander on that bang route.
A drive extender by Inman. Fake to Cackert. And Dury drops it. Andre Dury had some room and let that one bounce off the shoulder pads.
Yeah, and you're going to see Andre Dury in Football 101 as a receiver. Watch him turn his head. Turns head? Nope. Didn't have the football yet. And when you're not being used in the offense, and that's only his second attempt at a touch, he only had one prior to that. He failed football 101. He's got to go back.
5th in the league in receiving, 38 catches coming in. 2nd and 10. Pressure coming, and they get to Ray. Ball on the carpet, and the Argos get back on it. Good alert play by Chris Van Zyl to save it for the Argos after McCoy unloads on Ricky Ray.
Yeah, he got around the corner from the top side, and Ray was waiting for Dontrell Inman to open up at about 15 yards down the field on a dig route. He's working on Chris Van Zyl. And I was reading an article from the BC Lions' Karan Williams, who we'll see tomorrow in Vancouver as they play the Saskatchewan Roughriders, talking about bending the corner as a rush end. And that was an example of Chris McCoy bending the corner and getting to Ray.
Well, this is interesting. Remember, Larry Taylor returned one, 125 yards in Toronto. Scott Milanovic sends out Swayze Waters to try from 48 yards out, and it is good. Waters nails the 48-yarder, and the Argos again lead by 6. Game, he has hit his last 8, and he hits this with authority.
I was watching him in warm-up, and Swayze Waters hit a 60-yarder that went out the back of the end zone, the back line. He's got a heavy leg, and he drilled that one. Not a lot of hang time on that kick.
So again, a 6-point lead as Kevin Glenn and the Calgary offense scrimmages at the 35. Cornish testing that far side. And John Cornish wrestled down at the 40, has 5. Robert McCune looks a little slow to get up after being involved in the tackle. The Hammer, the former Calgary Stampeder, now the Argos middle linebacker, shaken up.
16 tackles last 2 weeks for Robert McCune. As I mentioned off the top, leading the team in tackles with 30 coming in. And with Cornish having 170 yards rushing a week ago in Hamilton, you know that Robert McCune was tuned in to number 9. See what happens to him here. It's like he gets rolled on from behind. Who's that big offensive lineman? Fell on his back.
Well, one of the most imposing statures in the league, Robert McCune. A couple of years with the Stampeders as a rush end and middle linebacker.
One of those players that just has no neck. Just goes, the shoulders go from the ears straight down to the shoulders, just those lats. Looks like he'll be okay.
Have to miss 3 plays. 5 yards for Cornish. It'll be 2nd and 5.
But there's your run stopper for the Argos. Brandon Isaac is the adjusting linebacker in coverage on most plays. Robert McCune stopping the run.
Excuse me, Suits. It looks like Marcus Ball moves into the middle. And across it. And Marquay McDaniel open. And McDaniel taken out across midfield. It's a Calgary first down at the Argo 53-yard line. 17 for the former Ticat, Marquay McDaniel.
Right across the middle where Robert McCune likes to eliminate crossers like that. Now just for an example, I'll show you Robert McCune just getting ready in the locker room. And this is what I mean. You see, he sold it there. See, right from the ears, straight down. He knows his way around a weight room.
Lewis in motion. Hand off to Cornish. Not much this time. Just back to the line of scrimmage. Ricky Foley there.
The spring John Cornish, he hasn't had the big run this year. He's had the big game. We talked about a lot last week, but not the big run. As long as coming in 28 yards.
What was impressive last week is Calgary in the fourth quarter, 11 straight run plays, 6 first downs. They took over 5 minutes off the clock and sealed the deal. Glenn now looks for more. Bounded couldn't make the catch. Working against Evan McCullough.
You know, I think the timing on the play from Evan McCullough was good. He could have possibly been called for a high hit. I mean, he's in that halfback spot. We've shown you that he's had a couple of issues in this game in the first half. But the timing as the ball's arriving is good to make contact there. But he gets up high and wrenches backwards on the face mask of Chris Bauman. Even if he doesn't have the football in his hands, you still can't rip him by the face mask. He got away with that.
So Maver punting to Owens. And again, angling it outside the numbers. Owens fields it inside the 10. There'll be a no yards penalty as Chad Owens gets rustled down. This is our league, brought to you by Nissan. Today, Kids Day at McMahon Stadium. To show their appreciation for their pint-sized supporters, the Stamps hosting a kids fun zone here at McMahon, including face painting, interactive inflatables, airbrush tattoos, of course an appearance by Ralph the Dog, and autograph signings with some of the Stampeder players. Halftime featured Little Miss Outrider, with girls age 5 to 17 performing.
Yeah, and then how about that national anthem? Nailed out of the park.
Oh, Canada, we stand on guard.
10-year-old Taylor.
Not affected by the pressure at all. Nice job, Taylor.
Terrific stuff. And our director wants to tell you there was a face mask penalty on the Stampeders. We weren't given a number, but it enhances the Argo field position up at the 28-yard line. Cackard straight ahead, and Kim Petway is there to bring that to a quick end.
Second and long situations. Ricky Ray just has not had the time to even get it into that 12 to 15-yard zone throwing the football. When they have had any success offensively, it's been with screen and draw.
So Cackard 5 carries, 25 yards. He has 5 catches, 42 yards. So 10 touches, 67 yards for Chad Cackard so far in this game. Second and long, and there's Inman wide open, or Jason Barnes, excuse me. Jason Barnes the catch, and a first down up at the 50-yard line, his third grab of the evening.
Runs a curl route, and Ricky Ray threw this one on time. He had lots of time back there. It was a 4-man rush from the Calgary Stampeders, so they didn't send any blitz on this second and long. Picked up nicely by the O-line, and when you give Ray time, he will find that receiver in the intermediate ring.
That's the former Edmonton Eskimo battery, Ray to Barnes, that combined for a touchdown here in the Western semifinal. First down, play action. Ray with time, anybody open? Pass on the sidelines for Barnes, incomplete.
Well, he brought in Jeff Johnson, and Johnson was back in there blocking, so that takes one receiver away. I only saw 3 potential receivers down the field, limiting his options, and all of them were covered. So the time that he gets plenty of steamboats, the secondary do their job for the Calgary Stampeders.
Yeah, the issue has been his inability to have time to look downfield. That wasn't the issue this time. Good coverage by the Stamps. Second and 10. 3-man rush by Calgary. Ray, crosser, a completion. Looks like it'll be short of the first down. There's Mike Bradwell, a catch. And they're going to mark him at the 52 of Calgary. Going to be about a yard short. Decision time for Scott Milanovich.
Like what Calgary did defensively here on this second down. They put everybody up on the line of scrimmage here, and then they were saying to Ricky Ray, here we come on second and long with the blitz, but they didn't blitz. They end up dropping 4 of the 7 out, going with the 3-man rush. Ray drops it underneath, and I don't think they got, what, 2 yards short here.
Jane's coming across.
Oh, maybe it's closer than that. Way closer than that.
That's just the second catch of the year for Bradwell, his first since the opening game.
And was it just me? And I'm speaking on behalf of Calgary fans here. I think that was a pretty good Argo spot. It looked like when he went down, he was about 2 yards away from the first down marker right below us.
Right in front of the Calgary bench. So it's 3rd and about a yard. Jarius Jackson checks in. Big boys hunker down. Remember Calgary with a goal line stand in Toronto. Jackson straight ahead and a good surge behind Jeff Keeping and company. Mark Paronto playing at right guard in this game. Scott Milanovic still looking for the right combination up front.
They love to have Tony Washington with his size at 6'7", 300 at left tackle. You got to start there. Every offensive line starts at left tackle, and then you work from there to put the pieces together.
And they feel Wayne Smith will be even better suited to play left guard. Big 52 is in that spot for the first time. They go double tight end here. Big to Cackard. And the catch is made down the sidelines, and Barnes gets upended and pushed out at the 42-yard line. And that's 8 on first down.
Back to Andre Dury and Chad Owens in this offense, just not seeing a lot of the football. Andre Dury with just the 1 and the 1 drop, and just 2 catches for Chad Owens in this game. You know, when you consider that coming in, the 45 passes, 24 of the 45 for Ricky Ray coming in were to those 2 players, more than half.
They're number 3 and 5 in the lead coming into this game. 2nd and 2. Malik Jackson can't corral Cackard before he gets the first down. And we're into the final minute of this 3rd quarter.
Andre Dury, guy that had over 400 yards receiving, 38 catches. That 38 catches, by the way, led his football team. And just 1 touch here tonight. 41 of them coming in after 6 games, shy of 450 yards.
First down Argonauts, 7th play of the drive. Ray with some time and now running out, and he'll just throw it away. Mike Bradwell close enough that no grounding issues there, and Ricky Ray will reset for 2nd and 10.
I've noticed from this Argo offense is that they haven't had a lot of receiver presence in the middle. They're trying to work to the sidelines, bringing the receivers in formation-wise and working them out towards the sideline.
Scott Milanovic has mentioned this is not a particularly aggressive Argo offense. It's more of a track team. Is that one of the reasons maybe they're not testing the middle as much? See what they call on 2nd and 10 with 4 receivers wide side. Ray over the middle and almost picked off, flagged down, and there was a hold on Chad Owens. Looked like Keon Raymond had Owens in his clutches. And draws the flag.
That's exactly right, and that's why that pass looked like it was such an errant throw from Ricky Ray, because Chad Owens was supposed to get to that spot, and Keon Raymond didn't let him get in there.
Pass interference. Calgary number 25. Point of foul. First down.
4th PI of the year against the Stampeders, their 3rd in 2 weeks.
Yeah, they got off to such a great start. They went 4 games without one. And then now that's where Chad Owens was working towards, and see the grab by Keon Raymond.
But that is one thing the Argos don't have. They don't have a Lewis, Richardson, S.J. Green type of receiver. But they do have a lot of speed. Here's Ray, wide open, Dury! Touchdown! Andre Dury comes up with the touchdown catch, and the Argos' drought is over.
Well, and Chris, one way to deal with the issues in the red zone, throw a touchdown pass outside of the red zone. and get Andre Dury involved. We talked about his touches and that he's just been a forgotten man here tonight. They get that layered route from the right side of the formation across the hash mark and across the face of safety Eric Fraser into the end zone.
Well, all those catches, and yet just his first touchdown of the year comes at a good time for the Argos on the final play of the third quarter. And with the extra point, the Argos will take a 13-point lead to the fourth quarter at McMahon. Touchdown ends almost 10 full quarters without a major.
Well, and Ricky Ray now with that long throw to Andre Dury is poised to get another 300, his third 300-yard passing game of the season, 62nd in his career. And now, sense of urgency for Calgary. They got to get the offense going now.
Stampeders trailed after 3 quarters last week against Hamilton, dominated the fourth quarter. In fact, had the football for 13 of the final 15 minutes. But that's going to be a tough thing to repeat against this Argo defense.
Well, and they've done a nice job against John Cornish in the run, and against Hamilton, it was Cornish that was eating up that clock and chewing up the yards. 113 yards rushing of his 170 in the fourth last week. The Argos have done a nice job against that run.
So the first touchdown of the year for Andre Dury. And his first catch of the night.
Second touch. Keon Raymond with a couple of second half penalties hasn't helped the Calgary cause. But now what does Dave Dickinson have as he's watched this game unfold? The fourth quarter has been the best scoring points for Calgary this year.
Larry Taylor starts from the 6. Doesn't reach the 30-yard line as he's brought down by Etienne Boulay.
I'll show you the bind that Eric Fraser's in. First of all, Andre Dury starts at tight end. There's Eric Fraser there. So let's run the play, and I'll show you the bind that he gets caught into because Jason Barnes, the slot back, is going to hold him high. If you hold it there, look at Jason Barnes here. That's his first threat. So he's got to hang there, and this one's allowed to cross his face, and Eric Fraser is late getting to that one. And that's the bind you're in when you've got 2 deep players down the middle like that. For the free safety, a nice throw, good touch from Ricky Ray, gives Andre Dury a chance.
So Kevin Glenn's got his work cut out for him. In the last 15 quarters, the Argos have surrendered only 66 points. Down by 13 to start. Glenn on a roll. And ran out of time. Incomplete near the feet of Nick Lewis.
It was an interesting play because Nick Lewis was locked up on Qualley there, and it was a timing issue as to when he was going to let him go and go after his quarterback and to turn around and become a receiver, or should he stay on the block on Ajiro Qualley and let Kevin Glenn get outside more time, and he got caught. There's Nick Lewis right here, and playing the tight end, he blocks. Now, do I release and become a receiver, or do I? The timing was off.
Robert McCune back in that defense for Toronto, 2nd and 10. Glenn has this one batted in the air, and it's incomplete. Ronald Flemons had a shot at the interception. 2 and out to start. And Flemons a little upset that he didn't come up with the pick.
I thought he was going to. I mean, he's going to be a little frustrated with it, but he's a big guy. Doesn't do many ball drills in practice. He does a lot of pass rush technique and stuff like that. He has a crack at it, both hands on it. Would have been a tough catch for the big man at 6'6", 275. Maybe a couple ball drills with the DBs in practice this week.
Tip was Armand Armstead, the 22-year-old defensive tackle who's had such a strong rookie season. Chad Owens up to around the 35, but Keenan McDougall ushers him out. Good 59-yard boot by Mabry. sack tally brought to you by Purolator, tackling hunger across Canada. Check. And we've had 3 contributions today.
2-1 Toronto. Ronald Flemings has one. Ricky Foley has one. And for the Calgary Stampeders, it's been Chris McCoy with the only sack so far tonight.
For the Argos with the lead and the football. We'll try and work the clock. Chad Cacker, good run. Springs this into the secondary and across midfield for Chad Cacker. 22-yard run.
Good change of direction in the hole here for Chad Cacker. Starts out to the right side of Ricky Ray, and the play side is here, but watch his cutback as he takes the football to that left side of the formation. We'll cut back there, nice vision downfield, head up, good quick feet, getting to that second and third level. 7 runs now for 51 yards for Chad Cacker.
Barnes and Owens, and now Inman in motion. Cackard will follow to the left side. Another good run for Cackard. It's a first down and more. Chad Cackard close to 15 yards more.
Gets the corner. He's got that quick feet and speed. Turn a 5-6 yard run into something much bigger. Puts the ball in the left arm. Smart fundamental play. Took a big hit out there. But not before he gained first down yardage.
Apparently loves the open road, loves to drive. In fact, drove from New Hampshire to Calgary when John Huffnagel signed him. Spent so much time in the car in the first day on the field, he tightened up and pulled a hamstring, and that was it.
1 week.
Somebody's got to give that man a plane ticket. Here's Owens now, and Chad Owens with a good run. Ball came loose, but the whistle goes. The Calgary bench erupts.
They might want to look at this because Chad Owens ran into Chad Cacker.
And injured at the bottom of the pile looked like Juwan Simpson.
Watch Owens turn the corner here. Runs into his own man, so technically is he down by contact? He is contacted from behind Charleston Hughes.
And that ball popped out on the hit by Hughes. Ruling the play dead. The whistle blew. Now as would the ruling be with the forearm down? The challenge flag comes out, and you can hear the reaction here at McMahon after seeing the replay. Question is, does the forearm constitute being down for Owens, and is the ball out before that? Looks like it is.
Calgary is challenging the ruling of down by contact. We'll review the play.
Calgary ended up on the football, and again
okay, so it was Juwan Simpson.
A fumble can extend beyond the whistle if it's ruled that the ball was out before the player was down.
I think it's out before the elbow. There's no question it's out before the elbow touches.
I think the Stamps are going to win this challenge.
And Juwan Simpson recovered it. And in fact, the Argo defense.
The Argo defense is on the field.
They're all the way out there on the field.
And a big turning point in the game if this call goes Calgary's way.
After review, the ruling is a fumble recovered by Calgary. First down.
Argos would have been in scoring range. First turnover of the game. And a big break for the Stamps. As the Argos look poised there to extend the lead beyond 2 touchdowns.
You know, and if there's one little issue that Chad Owens has had this year with such a great year, it's been a couple of fumbles. That's his 4th that he's lost this season. And you give him a little more rope because he touches the ball so much. He's on all the teams, the return game, and on offense. So it's a little more leeway.
So will Kevin Glenn be able to seize the opportunity? Guns that strike in for Markway McDaniel. And the catch is being marked at the 41-yard line.
Well, Marcus Ball waving his arm, thought that ball bounced off the turf, and are we going to see back-to-back challenges? Let's see if he does get his arms underneath that.
Couple good grabs by McDaniel on low deliveries from Kevin Glenn. Second and short. Bo Levi Mitchell comes in and he'll sneak for the first down. Under 11 minutes to go.
That Hamilton game, it's a small point here, that Hamilton game where we saw Quentin Porter on a third down go laterally along the line of scrimmage and get caught. Bo Levi Mitchell has done that throughout this year. He's not done it tonight on a couple of those quarterback sneaks. He's been, so maybe they all watched that game. Quarterbacks on those quarterback sneaks just hitting it right in behind their center.
Former Stamp defensive coordinator's done a nice job here today with his new squad. The new blue, they're calling this Toronto defense. A catch for Robbie Bryant.
Now, a couple things can happen here. Chris Jones is seeing a lot of out routes from the slot backs, especially on the short side. Marquay McDaniel once, they did a little change motion, brought Robbie Bryant in, and he became the slot back and another out. The progression for Dave Dickinson there is the out and up. Kevin Glenn needs time to throw that, though.
Only Anthony Calvillo has posted a 300-yard passing game against the Argos. The drop play not going anywhere, or is it? John Cornish finally surrounded and tackled inside the 40-yard line. Kevin Huntley with the initial contact. Couldn't bring him down, but bought enough time for the rest of the blue to rally.
You know, that's the first time we talked about Kevin Huntley, and he's a guy who last year dominated a game against the Calgary Stampeders, had 6 tackles and 2 sacks in one game in late October versus Calgary. And we haven't talked about him much tonight, but this time a big step inside. He causes all the problems. Now, he's not going to get the tackle there, but he caused the problems for Cornish, and Huntley's teammates rallied.
And Ajiro Kowali at the bottom of the pile, shaken up and is still down. And again, the Calgary punt team has to come on. 4th consecutive punt of this second half. And while they work on Ajiro Kowali, will step out.
He got the wind knocked out of him a little bit. He got rolled over on pile, kind of came right over top of him.
Mentioned the Argos touchdown drought. There's a home touchdown drought for Calgary. They were held off the board by the BC Lions in their last home game. Wow. Big kick by Maver, driving Owens back, looking for a crease, and stayed on his feet beyond the 15-yard line. Time now for our Scotiabank Game Changers. And a game changer for the Argos, the touchdown that has made it a 13-point lead.
Yeah, second touch of the game for Andre Dury, but a big one.
Barbara Tian was nominated to become a Scotiabank Game Changer for her work with the PrEP program, a center that is dedicated to the inclusion of individuals with Down syndrome. Barbara is represented here today by Greg and Siobhan Zobatar, as Siobhan's mother, Anne Marie, works with Barbara at PrEP, where Siobhan has been attending for 13 years. Barbara, the founder and executive director of the program. And we salute her as a Scotiabank Game Changer. Quick pass inside, and Chad Owens the catch. Barbara, the founder and executive director of the program, and believes in the ability and potential of all kids with Down syndrome, and has programs to help kids through preschool, kindergarten, and grade school. And it was nice to have a visit with Siobhan earlier.
Yeah, she was up here real excited to be on television. Chance to tell all her friends she's a TV star.
And told us her favorite player is still Henry Burris.
Yeah, and she thought the prediction was a 10-point Calgary win.
Yeah, they've got some work to do.
Some work to do.
Short yardage team on here, and Jarius Jackson plunging ahead, and the Argos will try and chew up this clock, and unlike the last series, hold on to the football with under 8 minutes left.
Difference on that drive that finished with the Andre Dury touchdown for Ricky Ray was protection, and his time in the pocket increased dramatically. The offensive line settling in a little bit, and maybe that Calgary defense tiring as this game's gone on, but talked about their O-line and the juggling that Scott Milenovich has had to do.
Chad Cackert releases, big pressure on, and down goes Ricky Ray. The newcomer, DeMonte Bolden, former Hamilton Tidecat, gets to the quarterback.
Well, and just as I talk about the fact that the offensive line for the Argos had a real good series, it was their right guard who just turned his head at the wrong time.
Bolden collaring Ray, second sack of the game for the Stamps.
I think it was Mark Toronto, Chris.
Here's Cackert on second and long. Gets back to the original line of scrimmage, but the Argos will have to punt. 9 more on Cackert's game stat sheet. So still time for Calgary, but they've got to crack the code of Chris Jones' Argo defense.
Dave Dickinson's been running those outs. Marquay McDaniel, Nick Lewis, and Romney Bryant have all been involved in those out routes. Can you run a wheel or an out and up? Get the time to try and push it deep.
Swayze Waters into the wind. Game time again. Larry Taylor, 31-yard line. And he'll be brought down again. Mike Bradwell on the scene. He's had a good evening on special teams. And from everywhere, the listener this week, in case you missed it, but I'm sure you didn't. That pass deflected high and incomplete. Boy, it's just been a week of rave reviews.
No, you know what? It was a ton of fun and a little cross promotion there for the 100th Grey Cup Championship that will be played in Toronto.
I hope you're okay, though. You looked in bad shape.
November. Well, the idea was I was run over by the Argo defensive line, and I don't know if that was on purpose because of something I said or how that worked, but thanks to all the crew at the listener, they were great.
Based on what we've seen from the Argo defensive line today, I understand. Robbie Bryant, does he hold on? No, but a flag is thrown. And a pass interference call upcoming against the Argos.
Pat Watkins was on the coverage on that inside route to Robbie Bryant. I thought the timing to reach around was there and get the knockdown, except for the fact that he may have been dragging that offhand on the back of the receiver from Calgary.
Pass interference. Toronto number 25. 10-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
Now, generally speaking, if Pat Watkins here turns Robbie Bryant, he's going to draw the flag. If he's just got his hand on the back and it's just hanging there, he doesn't.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I mean,
Watkins, a guy that's being compared with former Calgary Stampeder Brandon Browner. Had a good start to his CFL career. Cornish carry up over the 50-yard line. Same type of stature, 6'5", 205, Pat Watkins.
Good reach, long arms, so he can get up there and jam. He's been playing a lot of press coverage, and this young secondary for the Argos has been a real highlight for them this year.
Guy who runs
earlier, second against the pass. Go ahead.
Runs a 4.4, 240, 41-inch vertical. Now they're going to test Pacino Horn, and just out of the reach of Johnny Forzani, whose speed is deceptive. They say he might be the fastest Calgary Stampeder, and he seems to catch a defender off guard every week.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm watching him run this route. He's got press coverage, so he's going to go around that press coverage, and he gears it down a little bit, but I'm wondering if he does that just to deceive the corner on the outside and Pacino Horn and then accelerate to the football, because if he goes full speed the entire way, he gets there.
Under 5 minutes to go, and the Stamps offense stays on the field, 3rd and 6. Crosser, guess who? Nick Lewis, first down. Robert McEwen, the tackle, but Nick Lewis, the king of the second down conversions, has a big third down conversion to keep Calgary alive.
Well, you run the out all game, and then when you really need it, if you're Nick Lewis, you go across on that crossing route, wait, take a look, find the zone, and move the chains again.
12 for Lewis, down to the 47. Kevin Glenn over the middle, and is it intercepted? Jordan Younger's got it. The safety comes up with the ball, thrown behind Nick Lewis.
And was it touched at the line of scrimmage? It almost looked like it was. I'm not sure if Kevin Glenn got it out there clean or not. But Jordan Younger is 9 years in the Canadian Football League, 8 with the Toronto Argonauts, has never had an interception against Calgary as an Argo. Let's see if Kevin Glenn gets this out of there. A little pressure coming from the Argos here. I thought it was tipped by Huntley right at the line. Changed directions a little bit. Did he get his hand on it or not? Maybe not.
Captain of the defense, Jordan Younger, 9-year veteran, has his third interception of the year.
Face mask!
Cackert, well, you can hear the Argo bench. Thought that Cackert got stopped with a face mask. Infraction there, no flag on the field.
Get on the boat right now.
Get on the boat, says Jordan Younger. Gets his first interception against the Stampeders as an Argo. He did have one in his career when he was in Edmonton Eskimo, and I'm not sure. I look like Huntley might have touched it a little bit.
Well, the pass was so off target. Fifth interception thrown by Glenn on the year. Ricky Gray trying to convert second down. Looks for Inman, got it. Dontrell Inman has the catch and a first down in Calgary territory at the Stampeder 51-yard line, and the Argos are sensing it now. 3-minute warning given to the benches. The Argos with the football and a 13-point lead. To bottom maintenance and take good care.
Andre Dury was kind of forgotten about, and then had the 26-yard touchdown catch that broke a long drought for the Argos as far as getting to the end zone. And I know everyone is watching Chad Cackert tonight to compare his numbers to Corey Boyd and 118 yards of offense.
Just once this year did Boyd exceed that in a game. Combined pass and run, and Cackert adding to his totals here. Straight ahead, looks like he's got 5 more.
You know, and I've been asked, of course, on radio across the country a bunch about this move, and Chad Cackert, I know all the guys have. I'm sure you have too, Chris. And I thought that for him to sort of start down the road to prove that this was a smart and a success and a good move by the Toronto Argonauts, all he really had to do tonight was block well. I really felt that, and that was the issue that Scott Milenovich talked about. He's done more than block well.
And he should be featured the rest of the way, trying to convert, and powers his way to another first down. That will take more time off the clock, and one of the only issues for Chad Cackert in his short stay in Toronto has been holding on to the football. He's been working on that. And some fumble trouble last year. And one of those highlights earlier, you saw Calgary trying to rip it out of his hands, and he held on there. And Chad Cackert gaining confidence, and again, the only thing the Argos really have to do now is secure the football. And Scott Milenovich addressed that after watching what happened to the Hamilton Ticats in Winnipeg on Thursday night. Under 2 to go, first down. It's Cackert again. And this is shades of what John Cornish did to Hamilton a week ago.
You know, and again, Scott Milenovich talked about when we rolled that clip of Milenovich right off the top of the show, and he talked about Chad Cackert being a great team guy that'll give you everything he's got on every play, and we're seeing that. You can see a lot of broken tackles. First guy rarely has brought him down tonight. Ball security's been there. You see when he faces contact here as they're trying to run this clock down, he's got both arms over the football.
Sitting on 92 rushing yards. Had 139 in a game last year against Edmonton. 2nd and 6, and Wall will hold him up. Malik Jackson helps finish him off. So no first down for Cackert, and he may not get a chance at 100 in this game, but the Argos have worked the clock and now send out Swayze Waters to make it a 16-point lead.
And just to remind fans that the Toronto Argonauts have had John Hufnagel's number of late. They finish this game out. It'll be the 5th straight against the Calgary Stampeders.
Calgary using a timeout here, trying to ice Waters. If he misses, we know what Larry Taylor can do. So the game not secured yet, and John Hufnagel wants to give Waters something to think about.
And the Argos, Michael O'Shea just switched his field goal team to have his better cover guys on the field rather than the offensive line. It was right in that gray area, but he's protecting against Larry Taylor in case there's a miss here.
It's funny, 1:25's on the clock, and that's how far he ran with a missed field goal return in Toronto. Waters trying to make it academic, and he does, as he goes 5 for 5 on the night. And the Argos lead by 16. Well, SportsCenter's on the road once again as the Kraft Celebration Tour is officially underway. Tune in tomorrow.
Yeah, man.
Dutch and Kate broadcast live from Cochrane, Alberta.
Just down the road.
3 Pacific.
Yeah, just down the road, Chris. And
there's one of the feature guys tomorrow, Rob Cote, pride of Cochrane. Mark DeWitt will also join him, be part of the festivities.
Saw Dutchie by the hotel this morning, getting ready to head out there, and he was doing push-ups or something. I'm not sure what Dutchie was doing, but
looks like a defensive lineman. That pass is caught. Argos swarming to the football and containing Nick Lewis. Next game for Toronto will be a week Monday, and it will get a lot of attention as the Edmonton Eskimos and Corey Boyd will pay a visit. Next game for Calgary's against Saskatchewan, a week tonight, and then back-to-back against Edmonton.
Did they award Nick Lewis a catch there?
Got a catch, but in the final 3 minutes, we're going to get a video review from the command center.
We'll review the play.
Argos can't make the challenge, but Jake Ireland wants another look. So frustrating times for Calgary at home after scoring just 8 points against the BC Lions in their last home game. They've been shut down here again. BC, the #1 defense in many categories, and the Argos were right behind them. Argos #2 in yards allowed, passing yardage, takeaways.
Yeah, that young secondary is looking good. We talked about Pat Watkins. They were without Jalil Carter. Pacino Horn has done a nice job, hung in there. They had a couple of issues with he and Evan McCullough having to both switch, but Chris Jones'
After review,
defense.
the pass is incomplete. Be 2nd down and 10.
Chris Jones' defense is coming together nicely. And the only thing they could probably improve on a little bit is their sack production. They got a couple tonight. Coming into this game, they were ranked 7th in the league with 9, and that's where guys like Kevin Huntley come in. But they've held Kevin Glenn to 17 of 28 for 217, no touchdowns, and just the 1 pick to Jordan Younger.
Just resetting the clock here before a 2nd and 10 play. Montreal winning last night. And the Argos poised to win here, their 4th. Glenn throwing for McDaniel, and he's got him. Brought down by Robert McHugh, who pays a visit to his old teammates on the sidelines. Up at the 50-yard line, it's a first down for the Stamps.
You know, the one issue that Calgary Stampeders continue to struggle with is their bad penalties that throughout this game have cost them.
Glenn drops it off. John Cornish wide open up the middle. And Cornish down inside the 35-yard line. Still a little life in the Stamps.
Still some life, a lot of ground to make up. But as we know in the CFL, no lead is safe. That's one thing, though, I really believe that this team can get a lot better at. And that's just those penalties after the play is over. As Dave Randorf mentioned at halftime, those selfish penalties.
28 to Cornish. Glenn over the middle. Nick Lewis taken down at the 25-yard line. Brandon Isaac has been matched up against Nick Lewis, and the standings, if this game score holds.
With a big game tomorrow, the BC Lions hosting the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Kevin Glenn has time over the middle. McDaniel! And Brandon Isaac slows him up, and Marcus Ball takes him down. Looked like McDaniel was close to having a lane to the end zone.
Yeah, and it was just Brandon Isaac grabbing on and holding on. Then he tried to strip him, held him up. Some valuable seconds come off the clock. Right there by the jersey.
Glenn to the goal line. Touchdown. Chris Bauman breaks the plane. And the Stampeders, with a dozen seconds left, get a little closer. And they'll go for two.
Chris Bauman gets his first receiving touchdown of the year. And will keep the football for his trophy case, even though it may be in a losing cause.
Play may be under review. Well, as a scoring play, it has to be.
All scoring plays are. It's funny, your 10-point game, they get two, still an 8-point game, but with 12 seconds, and it seems wrong to say that there's still a chance, but in Canadian football, you got to get to that the final whistle.
That replay clearly shows Bauman with control as he breaks the plane. And now to make it an 8-point game and give us an interesting kick. Kevin Glenn.
Okay. So 3 plays have to be made by Calgary with 12 seconds to go. One starts with the onside kick. Got to get that touch. Throw it up, hope for either a penalty or a miraculous catch for a touchdown, and then you'll have to go for 2 afterwards, no matter whether there's no time on the clock or not. And I know there were probably people going, come on, 12 seconds left, 10 to an 8-point lead. This game is over. You can't honestly be saying there's still a chance. But we've seen some comebacks. One of the most exciting plays in football comes up with the onside kick, where the Stamps will likely load up one side of the field. The Argos go with their hands team, it's called.
Mark Gillum and Mike O'Shea, the special teams coaches, had a long discussion on the field prior to the game, and now they have a little showdown here.
Well, in the front line, and you could see Kevin Huntley, they put some big guys up front because their job is to just pick off as many as they can to allow the guys with the hands in behind in the second level to come up with a catch. And they've got a track right now. You see they're bunched up here because they're bunched up. As soon as they spread out, then they'll spread out.
And now the chess pieces move into their spots. And Rob Maver fakes, and it's Paredes bouncing it. It's still up for grabs, and it looks like Andre Dury has come up with it for Toronto.
Boy, there was a shot, wasn't there?
2 kickers out there, and Maver and Paredes may have caused some confusion.
Well, and Maver can't cross the line of scrimmage. Like, he can't go beyond the ball. He didn't. He stayed onside. It bounces around. There was a chance. I think it was Quincy Butler had a chance at it.
Quincy Butler got his fingertips on the football. It was that close.
Andre Dury has been kind of quiet, but the plays he have made have been big ones. The touchdown, 26-yarder, and that one right there. Take any hope away from Calgary, and then now it's over.
And so it will be a 5th consecutive Argo victory over the Stampeders. The Argos sweep the season series. Scott Milanovich matches his old team's win last night as the East comes west and wins back-to-back nights in the Canadian Football League. The Argos prevailed 22-14. So with the victory, Toronto now 4-3, a share of first place, and the Stampeders drop to 3-4. Next up for Toronto, Corey Boyd and the Edmonton Eskimos. That's the story from McMahon. Hope you enjoyed it. SportsCenter coming up next.